Hello friends, welcome to NCERT Voice Notes. Today we will be doing the first chapter of NCERT Class 10th Geography Resources and Development. This chapter technically focuses on the meaning and types of resources, the need for resource planning, conservation of land and soil, and the importance of sustainable development to meet the present needs without harming future generation, that is you people. So this is going to be fun. We'll be reading the whole chapter and trying to understand it. Can you identify and name the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? List the items and name the material used in the making. You can do it. Then let's go with the chapter. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resources. So this is the explanation of the resource. It is an interdependent relationship between nature, technology, and institutions, and we human beings lie in between the equilibrium, the triangle. The process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology, and institutions. As we saw in this picture, human beings interact with the nature through technology, create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Technology. Do you think that resources are free gifts of nature, as is assumed by many? No, they are not. Resources are a function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. They transform the material available in our environment into resources and use them. These resources can be classified on the following ways: on the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic; on basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable is which comes back even after we empty it, but non-renewable, once it is finished, it's gone. On the basis of an ownership, individual, community, group of people, nation, a big community, then international is all over the globe, the earth. And here I didn't say biotic is the living organisms, and abiotic is like non-living, the rocks and all. Okay, on the basis of status of development, potential, developed stocks and reserves. So here we have a figure classifying the resources. We know the definition of the resources. The classification is natural and human. Natural is big, renewable, the one doesn't get empty. This one gets finished. Then in renewable we have continuous or flow, and biological. Under biological we have natural and wildlife. Non-renewable is recyclable, non-recyclable wastes. Here the human, us, it is structure and institutions, quantity and quality. So now, development of resources. Resources are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. It was believed that resources are free gifts of nature. No, they are not. As a result, human beings use them indiscriminately, and this has led to the following problems. 1. Depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals, and accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, two halves: haves and not haves, have-nots, haves and have-nots, those who have and those who do not have, and rich and poor in simple terms. Okay, wow. Then third is indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. So these are the social problems it has led us into. An equitable distribution, it's not equal distribution guys, it is equitable distribution of resources has become essential for a sustained quality of life and global peace. If the present trend of resources depletion by a few individuals and countries continues, the future of our planet is in danger. Therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life. Sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. So what is this sustainable development? Sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment. Okay, point 1. Then development in present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. We have two components of sustainable development definition. 1, it should happen without damaging the environment. Point 2, it should not compromise with the needs of the future generation, that is you people. Okay, then Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992 and Agenda 21. These were the two meetings happened to follow this, bring this in in action in world. So Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. The summit was convened for addressing urgent problems of the environment protection and socio-economic development at the global level. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration of Global Climate Change and Biological Diversity. The Convention endorsed the Global Forest Principles and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving the sustainable development in the 21st century. Agenda 21, it is the declaration signed by the world leaders in 1992 at the UN Conference on Environment and Development. So it is an organization they in which all the world leaders came and signed the declaration, which took place in same again Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It aims at achieving global sustainable development. It is an agenda to combat environmental damage, poverty, disease through global cooperation. This is very much needed. Okay, global cooperation on common interest, mutual needs, and shared responsibilities. One major objective of the Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. So here what we saw, we want people to come together, unify, and work on the problem instead of fighting with each other. So the resource planning is the widely accepted strategy for judicious use. Judicious means without wastage. Judicious use of resources. It has importance in a country like India, which has enormous diversity in the availability of resources. There are regions which are rich in certain types of resources, but a deficit in some other resources. That is, in whole India, we have India. Okay, in everywhere we don't have equal resources. Somewhere we have more mangoes, somewhere we have more bananas. So while some place has more fishes, they don't have bananas. Here we have more bananas. So we have to have a balance. So for that we have a planning. So there are some regions which can be considered self-sufficient in terms of availability of resources. There are some regions which have acute shortage of some vital resources. For example, the state of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh are rich in minerals and coal deposits. Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water here. Here we have Arunachal Pradesh here. Okay, then but lacks in infrastructure development. The state of Rajasthan, we know the hot place, the one with desert, is very well endowed with solar and wind energy but lacks the water resources. Then the in above we have cold desert of Ladakh is relatively isolated from the rest of the country. It is very rich in cultural heritage but is deficient of water again because it is freezing now. Then infrastructure is not there and vital minerals are not there. This calls for a balanced resource planning in the national, state, regional and local levels. Okay, now we have activity. Then we have resource planning in India. How is it happening? Resource planning is a complex process. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 steps. Identification and inventory of resources across the regions of the country. This involves surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative estimation and measurement of the resources. So we are going and seeing which place has more resources, what kind of resources rich here. Okay, then evolving a planning structure endowed with appropriate technology, skill and institutional setup for implementing resource development schemes. Okay, now we bring technology, skill, okay, manpower and all to distribute them equally or bring the deficit resources what I don't have that I will bring in my place. Matching the resource development plans with overall development plans. So now I have started a plan. I will match it with the all over India wala plan, so that it doesn't get what I'm doing the same thing is not they are doing, so it will lead to wastage of resources. If both planning committees doing the same work, it will be wastage. That's why they coordinate with each other, they divide their work so that both of them are not working on the same thing in a different direction. India has made concerted efforts for achieving the goals of resource planning right from the first 5-year plan. Our country launches 5-year plan every 5 years since the independence of India, since the government was formed. Every year we have some agendas. Okay, wow. Sometimes we have family planning agenda. Sometimes we have health program. Sometimes we had green revolution, white revolution. So in every 5-year plan we have resource planning. We have to plan the resource. Okay. The availability of resources is necessary condition for development of any region, but mere availability of resources in the absence of corresponding changes in technology and institution may hinder the development. Okay, that is, we will have resources, but if we do not have the infrastructure and technology to use them, it will lead to wastage of them. So both have to go hand in hand. I have to have resources in my farm, in my godown, and I want technology and institution to use them. Okay, manufacture them and export it to countries and earn. There are many regions in our country that are rich in resources, but these are included in economically backward regions. That is, people are not developed there, so they are not able to utilize those resources. On the contrary, there are some regions which have pure poor resource base, but they're economically developed. Okay, can you name some resource rich but economically backward regions and some resource poor but economically developed regions? Guys, can you do this and tell me? The history of colonization reveals that rich resources in colonies were the main attractions for foreign invaders. India back then, when British, Dutch, and French were coming, we were really rich in resources, but we didn't have institution. Why? Because we were economically backward. Okay, wow. It was primarily the higher level of technological development of the colonized country, the Britishers and Dutch and French, that helped them to exploit our resources. They had ships, they used to trade it. We used to uh, grow the spices, but we didn't have ship and trade facilities. They had the trade. They came, bought for very less money and traded for very high money, establish their supremacy over the colonies. Therefore, resources can contribute to development only when they are accompanied by appropriate technology and institutional changes. India has experienced all this in different phases of colonization. As we know, we were in for almost 200 years under them. So all over the time we have learnt a lot of stuff. Therefore, in India, development in general and resources development in particular does not involve the availability of resources but also technology, quality of human resources. Only technology is not needed. We want educated men to take over the machinery, and men and women both. Then the historical experience of the people. Conservation of resources. Now we have the resources, we have the technology to use it. Now how we will conserve it? Guys, I know some of you might have got sleepy. Now sit straight, take a deep breath. Only few pages and we will finish the chapter. Okay, wow. Resources are vital for any developmental activity, but irrational consumption, that is, using it irrationally, too much without control, okay, without any limit, if you are using it, and over utilization of resources may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. To overcome these problems, resource conservation at various levels is important. This had been the main concern of the leaders and thinkers in the past. This is what they thought. For example, Gandhiji was very appropriate in voicing his concern about the resources conservation in the words, there is enough resources for everybody's need but not for anyone's greed. Okay, if one person is become greedy, he wants more. Even if he gets the whole globe, he want more and more. That's what he meant. He placed the greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative nature of modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. He was against mass production and wanted to replace it with production by the mass. What does it mean? I take one apple and produce it in a very huge manner in a whole. I do deforestation in whole this area. In whole area I have a plantation. That is mass production. Okay, but not everyone in the public wants apple. Some want orange, some want watermelon. So he said production by the mass, the khadi and all the self-help groups. We make for ourselves. We make the cloth for ourselves. We make the shampoo for ourselves. So he encouraged people to come forward and manufacture it by themselves, the small scale industries. So far what we have seen, we have resources. What we want to utilize these resources. Okay, why do you want to use the resources, use them properly? Because some rich people and some poor states, unequal distribution is happening. Exploitation, depletion of resources is happening. We have to use them judicially so that we can promote national development. And we saw Gandhiji's quote that there is enough resources for everybody's need but not for anyone, even one person's greed. So if we distribute the production process among the masses, that is the general population, there will not be any load on a one person. only one person, one a manager have to give job to everyone. Everyone will have job, everyone can make their own product and sell. Okay. And at the international level, the Club of Rome advocated resource conservation for the first time in a more systematically way in 1968. Subsequently, in 1978, Gandhian philosophy, Gandhian thought, okay, was once again presented by Schumacher in his book Small is Beautiful. The seminal contribution with respect to resource conservation at the global level was made by the Brundtland Commission report 1987. The report introduced the concept of sustainable development, and this is the report, okay, and that gave the idea of sustainable development and advocate for it as a means for resource conservation, which was subsequently published in a book entitled Our Common Future. So in the end, the resource we are utilizing to make the world a better place, and that will be a common feature for every human being. Another significant contribution was made at the Earth Summit at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 1992. Since we are halfway through the chapter, don't lose hope. Be with me. Let's finish the chapter together. Land resources. Now we have seen about the resources. Now we will see about the land resources in general, in particular. Then we will see about the soils. We live on land. We perform our economic activities on land. We use it in different ways. Thus, land is a natural source of utmost importance. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activities, transport, communication systems. However, land is an asset of finite magnitude. Finite means which can get finished. Therefore, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. India has land under a variety of relief features, namely mountains, plateaus, plains, and islands. About 43% of the land area is plain, which provides facilities for agriculture and industry. Mountains account for 30% of the uh, total surface area of the country and ensure perennial flow of rivers. This is the mountain. From here the rainwater, the glacier, snow will get melt and we will have river flow. Okay. Provide facilities for tourism, ecological aspects, and 27% of the area of the country is plateau. That is elevated flatland. It possesses rich reserves of minerals, fossil fuels, and forest. Now the land utilization. Okay, land resources are used for following purposes. Okay, we have 5 purposes. One, forest. Okay, then land not available for cultivation, that is barren land, waste land, land put to non-agricultural uses, example buildings, roads, factories, we have this everywhere. Other uncultivated land including fallow land, permanent pastures, and grazing land, like where the animal go. Land under miscellaneous tree crops groups not included in net sown area, so it is not agricultural land nor it is utilized for any other work. There we have this tree crop groups. Cultivable wasteland left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. Then we have fallow lands. It is interesting, guys. The current fallow, that is left without cultivation for 1 or less than 1 year. That is very recent. Then other than current land, we have left uncultivated land for 1 to 5 agricultural years. The net sown area of the physical extent of land on which crops are some sown harvested is known as net sown area. Area sown more than once is in an agricultural area plus net sown area is known as gross cropped area. Okay, the total farm they have worked on in the total area. Land use but in India, the use of land is determined both by physical factors such as topography, climate, soils, as well as human factors such as population density, technological ability, and cultural capability, and culture and traditions. The total geographical area of India is 3.28 million kilometer square. Land use data, however, is available only for the 93% of the total geographical area, but the land use reporting for most of the northeast states except Assam has not been fully done. Moreover, some areas of Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been survived. The land under permanent pasture has also decreased. How are we able to feed our huge cattle population on this pasture land, and what are the consequences of it? Most of the other than the current fallow lands are either of poor quality or cost of cultivation of such land is very high. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 to 3 years, and if these are included in the net zone area, then the percentage of NSA, that is net zone area in India, comes to about 54% of the total reporting area. The pattern of net zone area varies greatly from one state to other. It is over 80% of the total area of Punjab and Haryana, and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Forest area in the country is far lower than 33% of geographical area as it was outlined in the National Forest Policy. It was considered essential for maintenance of ecological balance. The livelihood of millions of people fringes on these forests depends upon it. A part of the land is termed as wasteland, and the land put to other non-cultural uses. Wasteland includes rocky, arid, desert areas, and land put to other non-cultural uses include settlements, roads, railway, industry, and our houses, everything. Continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking appropriate measures to conserve it and manage it has resulted in land degradation, guys. This in turn had serious repercussions on society and the environment. Land degradation and conservation measures. We have shared our land with the past generations while we do so with the and will have to do so with the future generation too. 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter, and clothing are obtained from the land, from our cultivations. Human activities have not only brought about degradation of the land but have also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to the land. So that is, we are also exploiting it and we are increasing the damage, we are accelerating the damage. Some human activities, such as, what are these activities? Deforestation, overgrazing, mining, quarrying, to have contributed significantly to land degradation. Mining sites are abandoned after excavation work. Excavation is like after digging it out, they are leaving the mine, as the leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. In states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha, deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. In Gujarat and Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, overgrazing, the cattle are overgrazing, is one of the main reasons for land degradation. In the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, over over irrigation, they are putting so much water, guys, is responsible for land degradation due to water logging, leading to increase in salinity and alkalinity of the soil. The mineral processing, like grinding of the limestone for cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry, generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. It retards the process of infiltration of water into the soil and it settles down on the land. In recent years, industrial effluents as a waste have become a major source of uh, land and water pollution in many parts of the country. What we see in Ganga River, guys. There are many ways to solve the problems of land degradation. What are the solutions? Afforestation and proper management of grazing can help to some extent. Planting of shelter belts of plants, that is green belt we are supposed to build. Control on overgrazing, stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods to check land degradation in arid areas. Proper management of wastelands, control of mining activities, proper discharge and disposal of industrial effluents and wastes after treatment can reduce land and water degradation in industrial and suburban areas. Soil as a resource. Soil is the most important renewable natural resource. It is the medium of plant growth and supports different types of living organisms on the earth. Soil is a living system. See, guys, soil is a living system. The whole soil is a living system. It takes millions of years to form soil up to few centimeters of depth. Relief, parent rock and bedrock, climate, vegetation and other forms of life and time are important factors in the formation of soil. Various forces of nature, such as change in temperature, actions of natural water, wind and glaciers, activities of decomposers, etc., contribute to formation of soil. Chemical and inorganic changes that take place in soil are equally important. See, the soil also consists of organic humus and other inorganic materials. Okay, it's a mixture of lot of things. And on the basis of the factors responsible for the soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical properties, the soil of India are classified into different types. Classification of soils. India has varied relief features, landforms, climate realms, and vegetative types. These have contributed in the development of various types of soil. Alluvial soil. The alluvial soil, this is the most widely spread and important soil. In fact, the entire northern plains are made of alluvial soil. These have been deposited in three important Himalayan rivers. What are they, guys? Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. These soils also extend in Rajasthan, Gujarat through a narrow corridor. Okay, that is, through a small space they are entering into Rajasthan and Gujarat. Alluvial soil is also found in eastern coastal mountains, particularly in the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, and Krishna and Kavari. The eastern means the your Andhra and Tamil Nadu side. Okay. Then the alluvial soil consists of various proportions of sand, silt, and clay. As we move inland towards the river valleys, the soil particles appear somewhat bigger in size. In upper reaches of the river valley, that is near the place of the break of slope, the soils are coarse. Such soils are more common in Piedmont plains such as Dwars and Chos and Terai. Apart from the size of their grains or components, soil are also described on the basis of their age. According to their age, alluvial soils can be classified as old, that is Bangar, new, that is Khadar. The Bangar soil has higher concentration of concave nodules than the Khadar. It has more fine particles and more fertile than Bhangar. Alluvial soils as a whole are very fertile, that is, they are good for crops. Mostly, these soils contain adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid, and lime, which are ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy, wheat, and other cereals and pulse crops. Due to its high fertility, regions of alluvial soil are intensively cultivated and densely populated. Okay, that is normal. That soil is giving them good crops, that's why people are there. Soils in the drier areas are more alkaline and can be protective after proper treatment and irrigation. Now black soil. Okay, black soil. These soils are black in color, of course, and also known as Rager soil. Black soil is ideal for growing cotton, guys, and is also known as black cotton soil. It is believed that climatic condition along with the parent rock material are the important factors for the formation of black soil. What are the conditions? Climatic conditions and the parent rock material. These type of soil are typical in Deccan Plateau basalt region, spread over northwest. Northwest is your Maharashtra. Okay, we will learn in northwest Deccan Plateau and is made up of lava flows. They cover the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, extend to southeast direction along the Godavari and Krishna valleys. Black soils are made up of extremely fine clayey material. They are well known for their capacity to hold moisture, that is water. In addition, they are rich in soil nutrients such as calcium, carbonate, magnesium, potash, lime. These soils are generally poor in phosphoric contents. They develop deep cracks during hot weather, which helps in proper aeration of the soil. These soils are sticky when wet and difficult to work on unless tilled immediately after first shower and during the pre-monsoon period. Now the red and yellow soils. Okay, red soils develop on crystalline igneous rocks in areas of low rainfall in the eastern and southern parts of Deccan Plateau. Yellow and red soils are also found in parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, southern parts of Middle Ganga Plain, and along the Piedmont zone of Western Ghats. These soils develop a reddish color due to diffusion of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. They look yellow when it occurs in hydrated form. With water, they look yellow, guys. As I read, you can correlate with the map given. Okay, it will be easy for you to locate the locations. Laterine soil. Laterite has been derived from Latin word later, which means brick. The laterite soil develops under tropical and subtropical climate with alternate wet and dry season. The soil is a result of intense leaching due to heavy rain. Lateric soils are mostly deep to very deep acidic, generally deficient in plant nutrients, and occur mostly in southern states, western Ghats region of Maharashtra, Odisha, and some parts of West Bengal and northeast regions. Where these soils support deciduous and evergreen forests, it is humus rich but under sparse vegetation and in semi-arid environment. It is generally humus poor. They are prone to erosion and degradation due to their position on the landscape. After adopting appropriate soil conservation techniques, particularly in the hilly regions of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, this soil is very useful for growing tea and coffee. Red latrine soils in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala are more suitable for crops like cashew nut. Now, arid soils, guys. The chapter is going to end. Just keep up with me. Arid soils range from red to brown in color. They are gently sandy in texture and saline in nature. In some areas, the salt content is very rich, and common salt is obtained by evaporating the water. Due to dry climate, high temperature, evaporation is faster, and the soil lacks humus and moisture. The lower horizons of the soil are occupied by concrete because of increasing calcium content downwards. The concrete layer formations in the bottom horizons restrict the infiltration of the water. After proper irrigation, these soils become cultivable, as has been in case of western Rajasthan. Forest soils. These soils are found in hilly and mountainous areas where sufficient rainforests are available. The soil texture varies according to the mountain environment where they are found. They are loamy and silty in valley sides and coarse grained in upper slopes. In the snow-covered areas of Himalayas, these soils experience denudation and are acidic with low humus content. The soils found in the lower parts of the valley, particularly in the river terraces and alluvial fans, are fertile. Now, the soil erosion and soil conservation. The denudation of the soil covered and subsequent washing down is particular as soil erosion. The process of soil formation and erosion go on simultaneously, and generally there is a balance between these two. Sometimes this balance is disturbed due to human activities like deforestation, overgrazing, construction, and mining, while natural forces like wind, glacier, and water lead to soil erosion. The running waters cut through the clayey soils and make deep channels as gullies. The land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. In the Chambal Basin, such lands are called ravines. Sometimes water flows on as a sheet over large areas down the slope. In such cases, down soil is washed away. In such cases, the top soil is washed away. Okay, so we have to conserve the land. This is known as sheet erosion. Okay, wind blows loose soil off flat and sloping land, known as wind erosion. Soil erosion is also caused by defective methods of farming. Plowing in wrong way up and down slope form channels for the quick flow of water, leading to soil erosion. Plugging along the contour lines can decelerate the flow of water down the slopes. This is called contour plowing. Steps can be cut out on the slopes, making terraces. Terrace cultivation restricts erosion. This is the type of cultivation we usually see in hilly areas, guys. Terrace. Then western and central Himalayas have well developed terrace farming. Large fields can be divided into strips. Strips of grasses are left to grow between the crops. This breaks up the flow of wind. This method is known as strip cropping, guys. Then planting lines of trees to create shelter also works in a similar way. Rows of such trees are called shelter belt. These shelter belt have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in western India.